Unsecured gap funding explained properly. So no collateral required, a smarter way to cover your real estate gap funding without risking what you already own. So let's get fair up it. The assumption everyone makes, most investors believe that covering a funding gap always costs them something tangible, feels like the price of doing the deal. A lien on the property, securing against equity in a property you already own, equity tied up, collateral locked away and unavailable for other opportunities, maybe even a piece of the deal, handing equity to whoever fronts the cash to fill the gap. These assumptions feel like the only options, but they are not the full picture, my friends. So let's have a look. What gap funding is and what the unsecured version may look like in your situation comes later. So hang around to the end. But your hard money lender typically covers roughly 70 to 80% of the deal, depending on your experience and relationship with that lender. Everything else, the down payment, closing costs, or the first draw, is the gap. Something has to fill it so you're not wiring it to yourself. So hard money, the gap, fill the gap. How you fill that gap determines exactly what you put at risk. The method matters as much as the money itself. The secured routes. These are the most common ways investors cover the gap today, and both coming with strings attached. So we got a HELOC. These are one of the most flexible and versatile forms of capital we can actually leverage in real estate, but it is secured. So it's secured against equity in a property you already own. It works, but it places a lien on an existing asset, whether that be your home or an LLC-owned investment property with equity. Gator lending, on the other hand, it requires collateralizing a separate asset at 150% or more of the loan amount at far worse rates, so you may as well use a HELOC. Effective, but costly in terms of what you put on the line. Both strategies work, but both put a lien on something you already have. So unsecured gap funding, it's actually worth noting with the Gator lending route, if they're going in second lien, the reason they want to cross-collateralize something is no one wants to go second lien on a deal unsecured. So that's why they're cross-collateralizing these days. Stack for a Gator lender to go second position unsecured just on the deal numbers. But if you have built up those relationships over years of doing business and they know you're a great operator, it is possible. A completely different approach is the unsecured gap funding. So one that removes collateral from the equation entirely. No lien on the deal. The property you're actually acquiring is never used as collateral. No lien on any other property. Your existing rental portfolio stays completely untouched. And approval by income and credit. Qualification is based on your financial profile, not an asset, or even the revenue in your business. Now, the thing here is, the reason unsecured gap funding is so useful is because many hard money lenders don't want you to secure a second lien on their deal. They may pull back approvals if they find out as well. Now, how it actually works. Rapid gap funding is delivered through unsecured term loan stacking, a precise, coordinated process that most investors have never seen before. Prepare loans, submit simultaneously, pulling from different bureaus and fund separately. Because none of the loans require collateral, they can be stacked simultaneously without conflict. The result is fast, clean capital with nothing pledged against it except your own credit profile. Here's the numbers. So here's the tool and what it looks like in practice: fast, flexible, and sized for real deal gaps. Up to about 120K, ranges from 20 to that 120K. Loan terms will be 3 to 5 years, fixed rate. And it can typically fund in about 1 to 3 days for approval, and money in the bank at the latest within 5. So why sequencing is everything. This is where most people get it wrong. Loan stacking is not simply submitting applications. It's submitting them in a specific order matched to your income profile. So apply out of order and it can knock out approvals still in progress. Sequencing is not a detail. It's the entire strategy. And even sequencing this into another tool in the capital stack, like 0% credit cards, always do that second, and then into business lines of credit third. That sequence matters as well. So as soon as these land in your bank account in 3 to 5 days, you can go on credit card stack, have those available in 5 to 10. Order matters. Each application must be sequenced to match your income and lender logic. Errors are costly, so a misordered submission can collapse approvals that are still in progress, and it's not a DIY process. Expert guidance on sequencing is what makes the strategy work, not only for the sequencing, but also to get the best possible rates and terms on the marketplace using a soft pull only. Get someone that's got access to the entire marketplace to run your profile to see where your best rates and offers are, as opposed to just applying to one lender, getting a hard pull and declined. So what this means for you, going unsecured changes the risk profile of every deal you do. And here's the upside. Portfolio stays protected. No risk to your rental properties or any other assets you own. Keep your equity. No equity handed away on a deal to private investor or partner, charging way worse rates. No waiting on people, no depending on a private investor's personal comfort level with you through an interview and checking how many successful flips you've done over the past 2 years. And then it's funded in days. Capital arrives in 1 to 5 days, not weeks of back and forth typically. So we still offer secured options too. Unsecured is not the only tool, but it is often the cleanest. HELOC and Gator lending both have their place and we support both approaches. So HELOC against existing property equity is going to be far better than Gator lending, and it's tied to the primary rate at about 7 to 9% these days. Gator lending with 150% collateralized, cross-collateralized on a separate property, as well as their rates and the origination fees from, one of these guys running around the Facebook groups connecting you. Sorry, the connector fees. Proven, established strategies. However, unsecured advantage would be nothing on the line but the loan itself, faster and cleaner to execute, qualify by income and credit alone. If you qualify for unsecured funding, you're not putting anything at risk to get it, and that is the meaningful difference. You're not putting anything at risk to get it apart from your own credit profile. Obviously, if you've got a great deal on the line, you're going to have holding costs. You don't want to be late. Put them on auto pay and make sure once you exit, you keep up those payments. Otherwise, the thing on the line is your credit profile with lates. And that is the meaningful difference. Get your gap covered. Find out if you qualify for unsecured gap funding. No collateral, no equity given up, funded in days. And essentially, there's the link right there. It's in the description below, gapfunded.com/apply. We'll walk through a full game plan. Worst case, you walk away with the next steps to actually leverage this strategy. I'm Mick Wadley. Let's go close something.